Last time we saw you was spring of last year.
Stratford.
Yeah. And we've been busy working away on upgrades and kind of kept you in the dark for a while. So I think you
a little bit, but no, what a change!
Yeah.
What a change! I mean, yes, the biggest one is we're outside.
That's the biggest one.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't expect it to be so big. I shouldn't have been surprised, but people have as much difficulty getting to velodrome on a regular basis as they do to getting to a wind tunnel on a regular basis. So
yes.
You have to bring it to them, and then we're
find people
doing
who are
that,
either close to a velodrome or very much not. There's not much in between.
Yeah, and there's not too many more indoor velodromes than there are wind tunnels, so it really doesn't change the calculus too much. But we're out here, and we've been testing with athletes since first time was March when we came outside and we said, this is good data, we're here, we've arrived. That was, I remember I had goosebumps when I was in the velodrome with you the first time, because that was our first time being like, we're seeing it live and it's real. Same feeling the first time. Well, for me, I guess this is your first time, so.
So I guess you were seeing live data whilst I was banging around the track.
Yeah, and that was.
I didn't know what was going on.
That's true.
Because nothing. Yeah. The biggest change for me, other than being outside, is actually seeing so much data on a Garmin.
Yeah.
Like having it's something I talked about long ago. Is like, what are our data fields going to look like in 5-10 years time?
Yeah.
We're going that way. I've got CDA at the top, your angle in the middle, and airspeed in the bottom.
And that was actually the most fascinating for you, wasn't it? I think.
The CDA one was. I've always thought the body rocket system is as much of a bike fit tool as it is an aerodynamic tool.
Yeah.
But it's also, I'm finding it quite educational. So I'm seeing in real time what I'm thinking, and that airspeed into a headwind, like aerodynamics into a headwind, is so much more important than aerodynamics into a tailwind.
It really drives it home, doesn't it?
Yeah, because
we ask you to hold the same airspeed.
Yeah, and it's a lot harder in a tailwind than a headwind. Whereas traditionally, if someone said to you, where would you rather ride, tailwind or headwind?
Yeah.
You'd pick tailwind every day.
Of course,
No, this is the other way around now.
Yeah.
And the other thing, yaw angle, we were deliberating over what determines how tight the yaw angle is.
Yeah.
And the faster you go, the less that yaw angle, is, which makes sense because in the tunnel, our protocol has always been the higher the speed, the less relevant the high yaw is.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
which is why you can start to ignore it if you're in a car or an airplane or something, because wind speeds across where it's coming from doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But on a bike.
Yeah. The other big change for me is I think the bike is lighter.
It feels more like a bike, doesn't it? It had a lot of dangly bits hanging up before.
I remember the front end of the bike in Lee Valley was so heavy because there was so much hanging up. It was like you turn it like bang, you're into the banking, and you'd have to wrestle it back out again. And whereas now, it's a bike. There's a couple of boxes here and there still, but it's
the airspeed sensing is still we're still on our prototype, and so we'll be moving to a smaller unit there as well pretty soon. But I do remember that Neil, our CTO, as we were setting up that day, he said, I think he said we have like 4 quad-core processors or something on a bike. And, it was just because we were trying to use commercially available electronics to prototype very quickly, which meant we had these sort of big boxes. And a lot of this last year and getting outside was getting rid of those because those broke a lot. They're not really meant. They're all hand-wired stuff, all bouncing around on the road.
Dry weather only as well, I guess.
Well, yeah, we're still dry weather for a while. But at least we can expect the bike to go outside, and we've done 100K and it works. So we're not breaking broken solder joints and stuff because they're not there anymore. We're a PCB plugged into a load cell and job done. So it's a lot more robust, and that's where we needed to get to, and that's been the goal this year, is to move to stuff that's robust enough to give to athletes so that we can move from our alpha testing, which is really what we're doing here. We're coming and meeting you, we're giving you this sort of concierge service, and it's kind of like the wind tunnel coming to you. The next step is we drop the wind tunnel off and we say, see you later. And that's where we're moving next, and you should be expecting to see one this fall.
That would be amazing. I think that also then the data sharing possibilities from that, I think, are quite massive.
Yeah.
If you've got a unit, it's up to you if you want to share that or not. But
it will be.
It would be it'd be amazing if I could. I the whole purpose of my YouTube channel is sometimes educational. I'm happy to give away all the information that I've sort of spent years accumulating.
Yeah.
And this is like we can go out and test up and down this straight. Like helmet, and it's then saying like on me, these are the ones that stack up. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to stack up on you.
No, but once we have you and 10 and 15 and 20 other people,
yeah,
we can start to say, well, this helmet generally stacks up well, and these overstocks stack up well, and we can start to help people know where to start their aero journey.
Exactly. Yeah. Because there's a lot of. I think we joked before about a brand. They said, well, they say their helmet's fastest. It's like, well, brands always say that their kit's the fastest.
Who's going to hold their feet to the fire on that one?
Yeah. So it's, it'd be nice to provide. I always think a lot of the bicycle rolling resistance website, it's completely just unbiased, and it's like you go on there and these are the fastest tyres, these are the slowest, depending on how they test it.
Yes,
and that's,
of course,
that's, some people could have thoughts on that, but hopefully, I guess with this, we'll provide, everyone will be in a different environment. I've got an arrow straight road, someone might be using a more curved one where your angle's changing a little more.
So we're not showing you some of the data right now. We are showing you the yaw angles that you were under, but we're not showing you if your CDA changed with the yaw angle. And so
okay.
I mean, the reason that you test at yaw angles in a wind tunnel is because you would expect your CDA is affected by yaw, and you want to understand that and make decisions off of it. So the idea is that we're going to be able to help you break that up. So maybe you tested on a straight road and somebody else tested on a twisty road, but we should be able to then break that down to just the data that was comparable. So if you're in a -2 to 2 degree wind angle, we can be taking other people's data and just taking that part out of their data as well. So we can be doing like for like. But ultimately, if you test on a handful of days, you're going to get that full span.
Yes.
And so then you know how a particular helmet works for you across a range of yaw angles.
Yeah.
And ideally, we're on a straight road today. If we were on, say, a circular or a square circuit or something, even on a day like this, you're going to get a range of yaw angles then. So you can build that picture out pretty quickly. And it's the same thing as going through a wind tunnel, then going through a yaw sweep, basically, if you can find yourself a course like that. So ultimately, no matter where you test, we should be able to tell you how you're going to perform in certain weather conditions. So if your race is on a course you've never ridden before, but you can look up the weather and it's going to be predominantly a crosswind, you can take a look at the things you've tested and see what performs best in the sort of crosswind conditions that you're in. So we should be able to normalize it and make you or help you compare that and make decisions. So
it's good. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on one and testing everything. Everything.
Yeah. Well, of the things you tested today, what?
It all stacks up. It all stacks up. So we used a prototype skin suit from No Pins, which is a prototype suit that's going in the bin because it didn't come out well. So it's like a mule.
Yeah. These things happen.
That's then we went short overshoes, long overshoes. Long overshoes were faster as per the wind tunnel. Things are stacking up as they do in the wind tunnel, and by margins bigger than I was expecting.
Okay.
Yeah, wind tunnel gives you. Wind tunnel gives you big margin. Yeah. Usually, velodrome gives you like maybe the same trends, so the same things are fast, the same things are slow, but by a lesser gap. Yeah. And I thought it would be that again on the road, but it doesn't seem to be.
Oh, that's interesting. I would have thought so as well. So.
Yeah, it seems to be some sort of chunky differences. I was surprised. The suit wasn't massively faster than the jersey shorts.
I noticed. I was surprised by that as well. Yeah. However, Lance pointed out that it is the same fabrics and everything, right? So it's not quite
different sleeves under that. Yeah, Lance needs to work on his eyes. Slightly different sleeves, but ultimately it's sort of No Pins is very good jersey shorts and socks set up, and it was like we said, a mediocre skin suit. So the bladder down the front that has consistently stacked up in the wind tunnel stacks up here. That was a bigger difference putting that down my skin suit than going from jersey shorts to skin suit.
Right, I haven't seen those results, so that was actually a pretty big change.
Yeah, that was. We were like, ooh. Okay, we're riding with that bladder forevermore.
No matter how it looks.
No matter how. Well, I'm all right with it. POC 10-pore came out quickest.
Which you're not surprised at. That's
not
been
surprised
consistent
at all.
For years.
Yeah,
for you,
especially when it's like I've got to make sure the position of it's correct though. That's really important.
We've seen that with other athletes as well.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's very temperamental.
Yes.
think that's why it's called. I'm a dad now, so I roll out those jokes.
Well done with the dad joke. Yeah. We've seen that with other athletes as well. In fact, we've had that helmet test. Not the dad jokes so much. You're the first. You're the first on that one. But with the tempor being a bit finicky, and where we'll go out, we'll do a test and it won't do well, and we'll just play around with the positioning and how it sits on them and go, and it does well again. But very careful.
Always, any other form of testing, it's like time is money.
Yeah.
So you got to prioritize. And the one thing we found by accident was the difference visors can make to a helmet. And yeah, I think with this, it's like you can go just be testing the smallest things. And it's not like it's costing you another run. It's not costing you another 10, 15, 20, 50 quid to do that. So.
And ideally, you're coming out here and you're getting a workout in as well, and so you're not necessarily sacrificing. You're not sacrificing a day's training to get out and do it. So I think we actually we were keeping track of the cars passing you as well. This time.
That was again the airspeed thing. That was super interesting because I saw really significant drop in airspeed. So obviously, my ground speed is the same. Yeah. Like if you had a GPS on a Garmin, my ground speed would be as it was, possibly even increasing. But the airspeed dropped from like 48 kilometers an hour of wind that's hitting me down to into the 30s. Yeah. That's massive. Pretty and it stayed there for a while as well. Like a good 5 seconds, it sort of trended down and then trended, and the yaw angle shifted as well.
It kind of matches those theoretical FEA things that people like is it Bart, who's the researcher that posts a bunch of this stuff, but cars being quite far ahead. It kind of matches that.
Absolutely, and also we time trial in the UK on open roads. Yeah. And yes, there's with traffic. Yes, there's sort of rules in place for traffic counts, but you get an articulated lorry come by, you pick up speed by 2 or 3 kilometers an hour, and one of the hardest things to do in cycling is accelerate, and when that's done for you, it's free speed. Yeah. So it was just very interesting to see that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to dig into that because you still got reasonably or quite consistent really in terms of your lap by lap. So we're going to dig into that. We did take a note of where they were passing. And,
well, because you said in theory it shouldn't change the data. Because it's all relative to the airspeed.
It all comes to as long as, because everybody is measuring airspeed at a point, and we're assuming that what's hitting your body is all consistent and the same, but of course that's going to kind of sweep across you as the draft comes across. So how long that takes and how good the airspeed sensing is of identifying the average airspeed that's hitting you. Yeah. We're correcting for the correction. You are going to speed up a little bit if you're putting out the same power, and the airspeed goes down. So we in theory, as long as the airspeed is correctly identifying what's coming across your body, which is a big question I can't answer right now, then it should all be accounted for. Yeah. But certainly we know that people who've done a lot of outdoor testing are hypersensitive to things like cars passing and stuff. So we'll take a look and see what that does to the data today.
Good. Cool.
So, all right. Okay. Well, it's great to see you again, and looking
see
forward
you in another 18 months.
Well, hopefully less than that.
Yeah.
Nice.